Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz, June 21, 2016 at 2:21 a.m. Birmingham. Topic: have any of the four horsemen arrived? As in the four horsemen, Revelations chapter 6. Have they got here? A lot of people say yes. Right on down to the green horse that appeared in a mad-fast crowd, just a complete riot when they were taking out Mubarak, if you remember that, and just utterly destruction, burning everything. Anyway, let me get on to why I'm saying these things about the four horsemen. And here's what one interpretation says: the white horse is Catholicism, and this is the era of the Catholic Rome, that area. And the second, which is red, communism. The third, black, capitalism. And the green, Islamism. Now, there was, again, a London BBC News was covering the giant crowds as they gathered in Cairo, Egypt, as violence erupted. And then, out of the wild blue, there's a imposed or anyway, there's a green horse that rides, and somebody says, "The pale horse, he's here." Well, nobody saw it. The cameraman didn't see it, but when they played it back, then it was on the camera, according to them. But you can make that thing. You get you some clear tint, cut you out a neat little horse and barely spray it on crystal clear glass and set it up in front of that screen, and you can move that panel of grass that you'll never see, and it looks like this horseman is coming out of the crowd and disappearing. Well, that's what they all say. But during the overthrow of Egypt's Mubarak, again, as they gathered, they're burning everything, they're fighting, they're shooting, and here comes this hologram of a green horseman. And that's what I call it, just a hologram and nothing more. And again, it rode through the clouds as if it was on the wind and up and over the clouds and out of sight. Well, I'm sorry, crowds. If these terms were used wisely to depict what each horse meant, then that would put the world time-wise inside the tribulation. In fact, it would put us at the forefront of the great tribulation. Let me tell you what somebody else, how they describe the four horsemen in the New Testament, again in the book of Revelations, in chapter 6, 1 through 8, it talks about the four horsemen. And when the Lamb of God, or the Lion of Judah, opens the first four of the seven seals, which summon four beings that rode out on white, red, black, and pale horses. And they symbolize destruction and conquest and pestilence. It's always read it that way, a divine apocalypse and the harbingers. Okay, but also white horse depicts as righteous, as infectious disease, as John said, as evil, and as empire prosperity. Then the red horse, the red horse comes as empire division. So the red horse is, as it said just a moment ago, is communism. And then you have the black horse. Even the black horse, an empire oppression. And then a pale horse as empire destruction. And it goes on below that, and the pale horse carries a lot of meanings to it. And So that's also in Zechariah chapter 6. But anyway, the era of the green horse is now, as it rages through the Middle East and Europe. And do you remember the whole world was not touched by the four mentions, only parts? When I say the whole world is not going to be pestilence and diseases, comes with a pale horse, well, the whole world is not going to be touched by that. It's mainly going to be right there in the Middle East. But I got something coming up to tell you what will, parts of the people that it will touch, and you may be interested. But neither horse, communism, capitalism, Islamism, the whole world is not under that control, just parts of the world. And where do these four horsemen come from? They come out of the river Euphrates. And what happens when they come out? A third of the population of this earth will die. That's right, in the first 3.5 years. That right there is proof that not even the first rider has yet come. Because if the fourth had come, which be Islamism, then people would have died. But guess what? You go back, and oh, by the way, and that number of the people that die is going to be 2.3 million people. Or 2.3 billion, I apologize, 2.3 billion. Well, you got a 200 million man army, which is China. They're going to come up. And then you have China actually reigns over all these Asian countries. It's just that they don't know it. But China has powers they've not even mentioned or shown to people, as depicted in the Bible, because 200 million will come. This is as soon as the horses, or the four horses released from the river Euphrates, or the four angels. And when they loosed the four angels that are bound in the river Euphrates, in verse 15, the four angels were loosed for an hour, a day, a month, a year, and slay the third part of men. And then you can go look and see a third part of the grass, third part of the waters, and on, the third part of the animals. Well, that hadn't happened yet. And the number of the army that came against them were 200 million. So it appears that at this point, Islam will be fully destroyed. That number will be 2.3 billion. Not all that dies are Islamic or Muslim, but most are. The river Euphrates is in Turkey, which are 99% Islamic, Syria, 92% Islamic, Iraq, 98% Islamic, and then it touches into Iran before it enters into the Persian Gulf, and Iran is probably at least 90% Islamic. The Middle East will be the target of the four angels. Today is 1.5 billion of the people are Islamic, Muslim, and the 200 million that came could also lose a billion. And when I say by a billion, 200 million on horseback, but they're going to bring a lot of people with them. And a lot of people will die because they have control over all the smaller Asian countries that line up. Well, from Japan, you keep jumping to Thailand and all the way down. They're going to be included in this. Anyway, the point is, there's been no horseman. That was a faked video that you saw. It was a hologram at best, and that has not happened. You'll know when the 4 horsemen are released out of the great river Euphrates. As soon as they come out, it said, I think it said actually an hour, a day, a month, a year. 1 month, 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, and 1 hour. That will kill 2.3 billion people in that short time. So the green horse, still in the river Euphrates. It's not come out and won't come out until that seal is opened, number 4, that brings them out. And who is worthy to open the little book? Only Christ. Jody will expose.